My M21 girlfriend, F21, was accused of having a nasty temper by her classmates, and now she's taking it out on me. My girlfriend and I have been together for about a year and we're both in college right now. My girlfriend has always been high-strung, and when she's under a lot of stress she gets irritable and sometimes gets aggressive to eliminate or reduce the situation that's causing her stress. We had a massive fight a couple of months in about this, and since then, she's stopped acting like this with me. Until now, she has some underlying mental health issues that causes her to be overly self-conscious of her behavior and aware of what people think of her. The year we've been together, she's been kicked out of a couple of study groups. Since that really caused her mental health to deteriorate, so I didn't ask why she was kicked out and only tried to make her feel better. Right now, we're almost at the end of this semester and my girlfriend has been asked to leave another study group right before finals, and apparently she confronted them. One of the girls in the group said that she has a nasty temper which really disrupts the vibe of the group. This was last Friday. Since then she's been irritable and snippy with me too. Like when she asked for chocolate pudding from the cafeteria and I accidentally got her vanilla and she just went off in a huff and said, "I guess I have to do everything myself cause you don't fucking listen." Another time, she was telling me about a change in college policy for the fall semester and I decided to look it up to get the exact wording from the school. That caused her to go off on me saying that why do you need to double check what I say? Isn't the fact that the info is coming from me enough? And she's been insulting that study group whenever we spend time together. Right now, it's a landmine-filled field and stepping on that mine will set her off again. Look, I don't know how to tell her that she A, broke her promise to me to stop being so snippy, and B, that girl in the study group had a point about her temper, so she's aware of her attitude and how it negatively impacts the people around her. If I straight up tell her this, it's going to pretty much destroy her mental health state and she'll fail finals. But I can't live like this anymore. I liked the girlfriend that I had when she had her temper under control, but I'm also on the fence of just straight up leaving her too. Too long didn't read. Girlfriend was kicked out of her study group for having a nasty temper. She is now taking that attitude with me. I don't know how to tell her that she's breaking her promise to me to keep her temper under control and that the study group had a point by saying she had a nasty temper, so she's aware of how her attitude affects other people. Alternatively, I'm debating on just leaving her. If I straight up tell her this, it's going to pretty much destroy her mental health state and she'll fail finals. B, I don't think that's the case. Even if it was the case, it's not your responsibility to suffer mistreatment, but I think she already knows her attitude is a big problem. To have been kicked out of one study group for being a shithead is one thing, but she's had it happen more than once. They already straight up told her that her attitude sucks. Think she knows she's like this and isn't interested in changing. Personally, I would leave. Life is full of stressful situations, and it's so important to not lash it out one another when things get tough. If this is the way she handles stress and doesn't show concrete signs of learning to handle it better, then you're not in for a good time if you stay. She has some underlying mental health issues that causes her to be overly self-conscious of her behavior and aware of what people think of her. But, yet, my girlfriend has been asked to leave another study group right before finals and apparently she confronted them. One of the girls in the group said that she has a nasty temper which really disrupts the vibe of the group. I don't get how, if she's overly self-conscious about her behavior, she's displaying a nasty temper to the point 3 different study groups are unwilling to have her there. Like, what? I was wondering the same thing. Like, if she's so self-conscious and aware, why is she treating people like this? I'm self-conscious and aware and I go out of my way to be nice to people and be respectful. I would be mortified if I got kicked out of a group because I was so out of control with my temper. This doesn't make sense. Your girlfriend lacks emotional intelligence and really needs to reflect on that. If you can't have a constructive conversation with her about this, who can? You shouldn't have to walk around on eggshells or be her emotional punching bag. You're going to have to tell her one way or another, either in a constructive way to work on it or on your way out the door. I would leave her. She seems very disinterested in actually addressing her behavior. No one else in her life is willing to put up with this. I don't see why you would be. She's well aware that she's an asshole. She's been informed by many people. She needs to learn how to manage her anger. Just because she's angry, doesn't mean she gets free rein to spoil the mood of everyone around her. However, it seems like she is clearly not ready to listen to any kind of feedback, so your best bet is to leave her. Honestly, she'll keep losing social connections until she learns to behave. It's a bit wild to be that the study group girl was like you have a temper and the GF is like HS. Egnes ain't pitvagastek piunwa form trijja. Like yesis, you see right there you have a problem? Question mark. My M29 job is emotional labor. So after being together for 6 years, how do I deal with getting tired of being my girlfriend's F28 main source of support and happiness? And how do I tell her that's no way to live or for us to have a future? I'm basically a therapist at my job 8 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week. It can be emotionally draining. I think because of this, whenever my partner of 6 years turns to me for support, I feel like it's just more of my job continuing after I clock out, and whether it's fair or not, this bothers me a lot because she needs a lot of support. Since we live apart and only see each other on weekends, she always says she thinks of me as a break from her work week, but I feel like more like an escape for her because she doesn't seem to look forward to much else, almost like she's using me as her main source of happiness and motivation. So is it wrong for me to reject this role she has placed for me in her life? Because it feels exhausting and like my work never ends? How do I even begin to tell her how that messes with me and negatively affects our relationship, because it makes me feel the opposite of excited to see her sometimes, and what I really want is to have more fun with her. She even got a therapist and I thought that would ease the burden, but I still feel like I'm doing the emotional heavy lifting. I'm starting to think that this therapist is seeing my partner like an easy check too, because she has the same problems over and over, which is hating her job, and she never seems to actually have sessions where she seems lighter or discovers new insights that help her life. This therapist just doesn't challenge her at all. Now I'm getting annoyed hearing the same problems over and over, and I'm running out of things to say to support my partner because I feel like a broken record. I'm also starting to feel bad that the advice I want to give her is resembling more of a tough love "what did you expect to happen with that attitude" kind of stance. It's honestly frustrating to feel this frustrated at her because I don't want to say something mean, something insensitive, or something rude, and yet those are the kind of thoughts that pop into my mind that I have to increasingly work harder not to say. I don't think I'd feel this way if I had a different job, or at least be this bothered, but I can't say for sure whether I'd feel that much different either, and that thought honestly scares me. It really doesn't help that she's so afraid of going outside and getting sick that getting her to go anywhere is like pulling teeth, so we spend most of our time indoors watching TV these days. When we go anywhere, I have to talk her into it and get her to believe we won't die, which is very draining. Then when we go hiking or see a friend or two, she seems like she enjoys herself a little bit, but she can't wait to go home. Obviously, I am not against staying home sometimes and comfort seeking in general, but that can't be someone's motivation in and of itself. Also keep in mind that I am fully vaxxed and she has 1 dose, but she still has these fears and tendencies. I actually find my job very fulfilling and I love my partner very much, so I don't think it's impossible to have both. We used to do more fun and exciting things that I looked forward to. I just wish she knew how to emotionally support and motivate herself better so I didn't have to do so much of it, especially by now at this point in our lives, and I wish we could go straight to the fun stuff more often. She's told me that seeing me is her main motivation to get through most of the week, so I don't even know where to begin telling her how that is no way to live, and she's got to make those other days better herself. I just want her to handle her life better so I'm not her main source of joy or support, an onus I have not and would never placed on her, and we're not actually each other's escapes either, but we provide extra support, extra joy, extra excitement, and extra life to each other. Does that make sense? I simply don't buy into the idea of all-consuming love like in the movies. I am an independent person with my own goals, friends, hobbies, and aspirations that regularly fill me with life, and I want her by side for all of it. I want her to want the same from life too. That's why I really think helping herself is probably the best way to help our relationship at this point. I don't want to continue down this path we're going, because I know in the end I will start to resent her, and I don't like that idea one bit. Any advice? TL Doctor, I feel like my partner is using me as an escape from her life, and I reject this role and its responsibilities as inherently unfair and unworkable. What I want is to go out and do more exciting things like we used to, and she doesn't because she wants to stay at home. Love her, but I'm going crazy. What do? A couple of things to think about. I work a similar industry and self-care is massively pushed in our industry. Regular check-ins, professional supervision, work-life balance. Burnout is extremely common, and it's something most people in the industry have in varying amounts. Compassion fatigue is real. The whole point of this is so we can go home and function as regular people. What you're saying to me, the avoidance of emotional support, looking for emotional independence, it sounds like a red flag. The emotional support you provide your family shouldn't feel like your professional role, and if it does, it can indicate something is wrong with how you're processing your work and work stress. How are you generally going? Are you able to disconnect from work? Do you have clear professional and personal life/personas? Do you have good well-being practices, and are you supported and tracking this in your role? This creeps up on people, and many don't know they're struggling until it becomes overwhelming. As far as things go with your partner, I'm not sure your expectations are reasonable. Generally, a romantic partner is someone's closest family, their biggest support. Stuff like extra fun and extra joy is for friends or casual relationships. It's great to have some fun and enjoy and good times, but that's normally paired with other support, quiet times. If you're only seeing her on weekends, it's not a lot of time for both, especially if you both work a lot. A lot of people look forward and work for the weekends. Obviously, mental health is an issue at the moment, but I think you need to find a middle ground. Maybe not the super fun stuff you want to do, but just going out in the morning for coffee, a walk around a park. Just start building up for things. And make time for the support, for the quiet times. What would happen if you took some of the things you're not saying to your girlfriend because you are afraid of seeming rude and just said them? Not in a cruel way, but in a sweetie, I've given all the advice I can give and we need to talk about something else kind of way. I think sometimes those of us in the helping professions confuse emotional support with boundary-less encouragement, and that's not sustainable for this relationship long term. You are allowed to have boundaries around listening to your girlfriend complain. Are you personally seeing a therapist? If you arrived in your position in a non-traditional way, you may not know this, but anyone in a therapist or counselor position is supposed to have their own. You have deeply entrenched emotional and identity issues conflicting with your relationship. You need a real person to talk to about these things deeply, likely over a long-term period. Not Reddit. Instinctively, you are not right for each other. Emotional engagement in most relationships is on average higher than what you want. If this is because of your job and personal issues, you can increase it with work. However, if this is an unchangeable facet of who you are, you need a less attached partner. My partner, M/22, has a brother, M/24, whom I suspect has feelings for me. Family gatherings are getting a bit difficult for me to deal with the tension I feel from the brother. Partner is completely aware of everything going on. How should I try to confront the situation? My partner will be referred to as L, and I have been together, on and off a little, but that's another story, for about 2.5 years, and we had a child together decently early on in the relationship. From the start, I suspected his brother, will be referred to as J, had a crush on me with how he acted. From what I was told by L and other family, J typically would not open up easily to people. Within a week, Jay was comfortable with me and would allow me to do things such as enter his room whenever, which he did not allow for anyone else. That could have been just him comfortable with me as a friend, but things started to progress a little more. Whenever Elle and I would be out in the living room and being affectionate, Jay would get quiet and act jealous. We tried not to completely rub it into his face all the time. Once that was noticed and kept affection between ourselves down a bit when around him. After a couple of months, Elle and I were extremely curious on if Jay had feelings for me, since there was more hints, such as Jay would have me play video games with him, but only if Elle wasn't in the room or I was awake before Elle and had nothing better to do. Over time, Jay would get more snippy towards me without any good reason, mainly if Elle was around with me. I tried at one point to talk to Jay privately, but he went and told his family I was trying to seduce him to make it look like I was the bad guy in the situation and to hurt my relationship with the rest of the family, which he was successful at for a while. I didn't want much to do with him for a while after that, understandably, but it still caused tension and a strain on Elle and I's relationship with the drama. Things cooled off for a while, and Jay did stop. We had hardly any contact for a while, with the exception of family events. From what I gathered, he was claiming he hates me and refuses to acknowledge I exist. Anyway, at a recent family event, we were playing a board game at the table. There was Jay, Elle, myself, and 3 other family members. I was sitting across from Jay and stretched my legs, accidentally bumping him. I pulled my feet back, but maybe 5 minutes later, I feel his feet on mine. It wasn't like a quick thing either. He was rubbing my foot with his and did so for quite some time. I did not say anything at that time because I did not want to cause a huge issue at a family function. I told Elle later and he was surprised that he didn't notice. We just had another family event in which I completely received the cold shit from Jay, even worse than before. He's starting to make it more obvious that he supposedly doesn't like me, but him playing footsie with me honestly threw me for a loop. I am not sure how to address this situation. I am very afraid to confront him again because I am on really good terms with the family and I do not want to ruin that relationship again over stupid drama. I know something needs to be said, because I'm not sure how many times I can handle him playing footsie or doing something else before I can't bite my tongue. I feel like he may know he has me backed into a bit of a corner here. I also do not want to be rude towards him despite everything, because I'd like to keep my interactions with him civil and not make it worse than it already is. Any suggestions? Too long didn't read. Partner's brother was overly friendly towards me in the beginning. Friendship went downhill and he tried ruining my relationship with the family. Brother claims to hate me and suddenly flirted, but now is back to the same old. Not sure how to approach to discourage future encounters without being blamed by his family again or making him lash out worse. Need advice.